Welcome back to another episode of Sarkis Unlocked. Today, we're talking with the president of Maggiore Companies, Matt Maggiore. When it comes to construction, design, and major development projects in New England, Matt is a definite expert. He's also a close friend. We're technically neighbors, and he's the man responsible for this amazing space. Stay tuned. Matt, welcome.
Thanks, George.
Thanks for being here.
Appreciate you having me.
Excited to have you on today's episode. And it only makes sense that we actually film it in my new man cave.
This is awesome.
Maggiore Companies crushed. You guys literally made this process so stress-free. It was enjoyable, the design, everything. I know it was like more of a passion project for you. We'll get into.
It means a lot that you let us into your house with your family and trust us to come here and do that job. So thank you.
It was. I never questioned it once. You guys. Honestly, like I said, I felt very comfortable with it, and I'm obsessed with this space. I was hoping that, I know you rushed to get it done for me because the plan was to continue to watch these guys back here play through June, but we caught a couple playoff games, and we're excited for next season.
100%.
As you can see, I bleed green.
Oh yeah.
Bleed green.
From the beginning.
And yeah, I love it. I'm so obsessed with it that my wife is not always happy with me because she can't find me in the home upstairs. I just
and we soundproof it really well.
Oh, it's this system bumps in here. So, yeah, we'll show people a little more of the space as we go. You and I met through business. We're both in the real estate world.
Yep.
And, we heard of one another, and then we live in the same town, so we happened to meet almost a couple years ago, 2 years ago, pretty much, knowing each other just under 2 years. And we kind of hit it off right from the jump.
A lot in common.
Both pretty much obsessive over our craft and what we do.
Live and breathe.
Live and breathe it, 24/7 guys. But most importantly, our family takes precedent over everything else.
Always.
We are both girl dads. It's been awesome to have your girls hang out with my girls.
I like that they have a nice bond.
They have a nice bond. Your girls are older, so it's nice to have them around, and we're both diehard sports fans. But you knew what you were doing when you invited me to your house. You knew.
I planted the seed.
You planted the seed. You showed me your lower level, because your man cave. I hope they bring it up on this episode. I know we have a couple photos. One Haywood and Lynnfield.
For sale, by the way.
For sale, by the way. Today it is. It might not be tomorrow. And when you're watching this, it's definitely not going to be for sale anymore, hopefully. But you showed me your man cave and your lower level and the craftsmanship and work, and I was like, there's no one else that's doing my basement besides you.
Thank you.
And you crushed it. And I'm obsessed. So let's talk about, before you were in the seat you're in today, which is president of Maggiore Companies.
Correct.
You guys are a have built a multi-generational legacy of a family, construction, going back to, I don't think you know anything but construction since you were in your diapers.
So we've done all our lives. I was physically in a truck, drive around, learning the business when I was, 9, 10 years old with my father. And guys, actually, one of the guys just retired. 1989 started with us.
Hold on, isn't there a photo from a Boston movie that says Maggiore behind it?
So in fact, it's kind of a crazy story. We had a project manager whose girlfriend was the mother of Matt and Ben Affleck.
What?
I'm sorry, Ben and Casey Affleck.
Wow.
And Matt Damon and those guys were like best friends. And so they needed summer work. And this is before they, made it to where they are. Obviously now they've long forgotten construction.
But weren't they,
They worked for us.
And then wasn't there a scene in Good Will Hunting?
They were. They actually asked us to mail the sign up to a site in Montreal where they shot that scene.
That's awesome.
And it said Paul Maggiore Builders Corp.
Yes, I remember seeing that.
Our old corporation before we brought back the name Maggiore Construction Corp. And that was the scene where they were like telling Matt he's got to get out of there and find a new life and do his thing.
Yeah.
And,
he's like, I'm gonna still be here, but like you're pissing away all your towns and
Exactly.
that scene.
And they were doing construction saying, hey, we're working on something big, we're not going to be doing this for very long. And they were writing the screenplay for Google Hunting.
That's crazy.
So pretty cool.
So going back, obviously you weren't president right out of the gate. Your dad made you earn it, and you had to earn it yourself. I know. Believe me, one other thing that we both have in common is we're in business with our family.
Completely. And yours is a little different because you're the founder, right?
Yeah.
You started the whole thing.
We found it together. My brother and I found it together.
You founded it together.
Yes.
So not truly a legacy. You guys started something yourself. So I'm obviously second generation in the business. Well, third generation, but different company name. And there was no free rides. The old school Italian mentality is, if you want something, you gotta have to earn it. Going back to your first car, if you want to have a car, you're going to work. And by the time I was ready to have a car, I had enough money to buy a car. And driving around, a newer car, and everyone was like, "Oh, your parents bought your car." I'm like, "No, I actually worked every summer, every vacation, every weekend, so that I could pay for this car." People
assume a lot of things in this world, and you know what? Let them.
Absolutely.
Mel Robbins says it all the time. Just let them.
Absolutely.
But where did you begin at Maggiore Companies? Like, where did you begin, and how did you work your way up? I know you have the last name, but I've met your father, and I know how he is. He wouldn't have gave it to you unless you earned it, brother.
No, it's just really learning the hard way, starting from ground zero. Having no having no expectation that you're going to be anything, and learning business. Going on construction sites, asking questions. Watching stuff happen, watching a foundation go in, watching steel being erected, asking questions, and having these old school guys that like live and breathe this, teach you. So construction knowledge starts from the field. So I had some requisite field experience, all through middle school, high school, and into college in the summers. And then after college, I went to school to get a business degree, so I could read and write, and function as a human being. Get my degree like the rest of my family did, and then go right into the business. I think I graduated on a Saturday, and I got Sunday off, and then I was working the next Monday. And I was starting in the office, helping with estimating, helping with a little bit of project management, helping with a little bit of property management, and basically being a gopher. You're the low man.
Whatever you need to do.
You're the low man on the totem pole.
Yep.
If you need to go and clean this porta potty, you're gonna go do that. If you need to go load this truck, you're gonna do that. If you need to go pick this up for the company, bring plans over here. It was just like 12 hours a day, just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, I remember you even told me a story about like your dad like wanting you to go to your grandmother's house or like your aunt's house for something, or whatever it was.
Snow, there could be a blizzard, and if there was something to go do, you just did it.
You
wouldn't question it because you'd be effed.
Yeah. Now, what's one of the biggest lessons that you learned from the generation before you? Like, and how have you evolved the company culture to fit today's market? Because I know, like, you and I talk about this all the time. And I say it, like, because, listen, like, there's a shift, right? You don't want to be Blockbuster. You want to be Netflix.
Right.
You want to evolve. You cannot continue to do things the same way that your father did it, and your father couldn't do it the same way that your grandfather did it. It's just plain and simple. Like, there is no way of continuing to do it the same.
I mean, you have to consider technology and the advancements, in your daily functionality of this of any company.
Yes.
These days. And you and I were talking about having systems in place and a playbook in place, and I'm trying to build that. Back in the day, it was like
I'm still trying to build it. It's not easy.
But I mean, you got stuff done back in the day with, fly by the seat of your pants, and you work 7 days a week, and you throw up this, commercial building.
Yeah.
Because there was, very few inspections. There was no rebar. There's no testing. You just did what you knew how to do, and then this building got, built, and it's an industrial building, whatever. Now things are so complex with, these multifamily things we're building, super intricate, waterproofing assemblies and fire ratings and sound assemblies, and you have to have the infrastructure and the technology in place to be able to track, all those pieces and parts.
So the evolution really came with everything changing. You had no choice.
And the codes have become so stringent, and almost to the point of being unbuildable. So
Yeah, back in the day, you could just drop off an envelope, couldn't you?
we didn't, but yes, there was plenty of that going on.
Yeah.
There was absolutely plenty of that going on.
That's crazy.
And that's how you did business. They used to get building permits with a hand sketch. They would walk in, say, "Hey, I think it's going to look like this," and walk out with a permit in hand. It could take us a year and a half to pull plans together and get a building permit now, if you're lucky.
And you guys have built everything. You guys have built car dealerships. You guys have built restaurants, multifamily, apartment buildings. We're not getting into development now, like of your development portfolio, but you guys have built doctor's offices, industrial warehouses, schools. You've done it all. You've done townhouses, apartments, condos, and you guys are proud of them. And I know that you still stand by your clients. I see some of your portfolio in your office when I go to visit you, and I've heard your clients speak so highly of your father and, and the relationships that you guys built over the years. And I've seen it here. You came back to my house 3-4 times when you didn't need to. You checked on stuff that I didn't even know, and you dotted all your I's, crossed all your T's. You've built an unbelievable book of business. Your name is unparalleled to many people. And
Thank you.
And then what you have done, aside from building for other people, is you have built for yourself. You've done development. For those who are watching, I'm sure you guys know Tono, the restaurant in Wakefield. You built that entire condo building above it. You built out the restaurant. I know that
Great project.
And you're still involved in the restaurant as a partner, silent partner, I believe.
Yep.
In Tono, which is great. If you guys haven't been to Tono, check it out. Great Italian food. Shout out to
Anthony Caterano.
Anthony. They also have one in Gloucester as well. But check out Wakefield. It's the best.
Super talented guy.
Super talented
Great
guy.
brand.
And I know that you did that project. That was a big success. You've done another project in Arlington that you just completed. And you have a lot of projects in the pipeline. How do you pivot your mindset when you're building a corporate office, a dealership, versus a high-end residential project or space? Because it's two different things, you know what I mean?
One is utilitarian. One is like someone goes to work, they go buy a car, they go to dinner, but then they go home. Right? So they're not there for extended periods of time. You can make it nice. I mean, you're building an office building. You're building offices with nice lighting and wall coverings and flooring. I mean, there's no super magic to it. When you translate to someone's house, there's that intimate personal connection. People are spending, and especially these days, the post-COVID era, people stay home a lot. They want to do stuff at home with family. They want to have friends over. They want to entertain. Creating space like we created for you, that like really speaks to somebody, but you're intimately with them. Like you might be, like you told me you're in your boxer shorts and Kevin, my guy's there at 7 a.m, and just like we're like family.
Oh
right?
my God, 100%. That was the funniest morning I ever did.
And you call me laughing your ass off.
I'm like eating cereal. I think I'm eating churros. I turn around and I see Kevin just chilling in the window. I'm like,
but just the level of trust that you have to have that like people are coming into your house as you're getting ready to leave for the day. And having that connection to the family, takes a lot of trust, and it's more difficult for us because it's like at the end of a commercial project day, you can kind of put your tools down, you can leave the place where you want to keep it neat, but you kind of leave it the way it is, and like you pick it back up the next day because no one's there. People come home from work.
Yeah, that's so true.
The bulkhead's got to be locked. The doors got to be secured. The grounds have to be picked up. A place has to look like something happened
because they have to actually go back and live there,
and then they get excited because they want to see what happened from one day to the next.
Yeah, I agree.
And so you
I
want
felt
to
it.
Really highlight that.
I lived
you get
it.
Excited
100%.
So there's definitely a level of intimacy that comes with doing this stuff, which is rewarding in itself because to be able to deliver something that like truly speaks to someone's identity, like you, like this is you in a nutshell, right? Celtics across the board, sports,
Yep.
The whole theme, the bar, this speaks to like what you like to do, what your interests are, and that's what
100%. And I love that, like I mean, listen, you guys even hung up the jerseys for me, man. Like you guys did
service.
it all. Now, going from building these commercial buildings, building these offices, these restaurant spaces, forget about the residential component yet, but what did you learn from the commercial industrial, side of the construction that you were able to bring over to the residential side?
So the systems and how we operate from a contractual basis, from a paperwork standing, like we have to have all those systems in place to be able to build a Toyota dealership.
Yeah.
Or you're going to build a big office building or a retail facility. You're dealing with people that know what they're doing. They have an owner's project manager who knows construction. He knows legal. He knows contract negotiation, and so you have very sophisticated systems. And you can take those and pare those down a little bit to the homeowner level, but it's still super professional. It's like, you have a schedule of values, you have a contract with specifications, and we're ahead of that typical guy that builds renovations out of the back of his pickup truck, because he's going home at night and doing the billing himself, and it's probably a handwritten bill, or it probably says invoice 3, deposit for blah blah blah, and ours is completely broken down by the construction category. The contract is easy to understand. So we have those high level systems that we kind of pare down to something a little less sophisticated.
Yeah.
But it still gives you that upper, like, it still is presentable. It still is professional. So you have that edge where you have that big business kind of feel, but you've molded it to something for the homeowner.
That makes sense. Now, I've talked about where it all started. You've kind of given some insight and input on, how both commercial, residential kind of clash, what you've learned, some lessons. But what is something that most people completely misunderstand about what it takes to get a new development project out of the ground in New England? Because you went from building for other people to putting your money where your mouth was. You built for yourself, your own money, you gave it your all. And what do people misunderstand about let's just build condos and sell them, it's no problem?
A couple of major things is,
and I can add a little to this too.
No, they all of a sudden one day see, like Arlington, for example, you see 50 units on Mass Ave that just popped up one day, and it's this gorgeous building, and they're like, oh yeah, look, they just built this building. That had been in the making for 4 years.
Oh yes.
3.5 to 4 years. So the red tape, the politics in the given community, the permitting process in the given community, the making a commitment on a piece of land before you have permits is just the risks, all these risks that you have.
The neighbors, the town.
So many factors.
Having to give back a piece to the park, like some public space,
offsite mitigation.
Yeah.
That building permit fee, the last building permit fee we did in Arlington was heavy 6 figures. So you're writing checks left and right, but you're carrying these, and you're outlaying significant capital before you even really know that you have a project. You could say they could deny your building permit, and you think you're going to start in April, and you don't get the permit until June. You lost a portion of the building season. In New England, your window is like this, right? I mean, we're already almost into July.
Especially on that site in Marlington. Talk to me about how tight the site was. Like,
I mean, we had streetscape. And
you couldn't put just like you couldn't put trailers and dumpsters and all that all over. You didn't have the space.
We had a dumpster in the street. We rented parking spaces for the dumpster in the street, and we had basically zero lot line. We're building all the way out to the side.
And renting that space costs
money.
And
then
like
we had
everything.
a sales office across the street because we couldn't put a trailer on site. It costs money. Right. So this perception that
And I feel like this is where developers end up, getting in the red. They don't calculate every cost.
Almost every deal that we're in process of either procuring or have recently procured is taking people out who are what I would say over their skis.
Yeah.
So, somebody that has seen a vision of what they think they can do, and they don't realize what the steps it takes to get there.
And then sometimes other agents and people in my field, kind of overpromise. Oh, you can get $1,500 a foot. You can get $1,200 a foot, and it's not what we try to be is conservative.
Right.
Like we're pricing something out for you now, and we're trying to be conservative because we want the worst case scenario.
100%.
And that's just like,
And
because
what
we want to make sure that we did everything we can do. We delivered every outcome possible. So, you're not, putting yourself in a bad position.
I mean, the keys to successful development, we've always learned. I mean, like, this goes back to, like, learning just life. My father said, don't ever buy something that you can't afford to pay cash for. So, that, he was talking about a boat, or talking about a watch, or talking about a car, or whatever. He's like, don't just put it on a credit card, right? People finance land. And that's the biggest mistake in development, is somebody puts a land or agreement, and they close, and they have a bank note day one. They have no cash flow. It could be a raw piece of land. They have no cash flow. And they have no idea how long it's going to take to permit the project. So right then, they're in a disadvantage because they're burning money. The other thing is, when you're pro-forming a deal, or you're putting that sales numbers together, you never hedge your bets on the highest. You always go with what you say, the conservative numbers.
The conservative numbers.
So if you get in trouble, you can still get out somewhat whole. Because once there's a bank involved, you basically are handcuffed, right?
100%. Now, what is, if a young entrepreneur came to you wanting to get in the development and construction game today, what is one piece of advice you would give them to survive their first 5 years? One piece of, like, strong advice. And I know you could give them 100 things.
I mean, be patient and start off small.
Be patient and start off small.
And
yeah, everyone wants to go to Suffolk Construction the next day. You just want to go
immediately. I mean, going back to, like, how I came up in the business, is it took a lot of years. We're, like, questioning, is this really, am I really cut out for, like, this grueling lifestyle? Because I learned a very difficult way of learning, and I wouldn't necessarily want my kids to learn that in that same way, because it was mentally challenging for at times. But if you have this vision that you're going to be, the Suffolks of the world immediately. I mean, that's
the Maggiores of the world. The Maggiores of the world.
But being humble, being patient, slow and steady. Someone would get in development. They say they know a little bit about construction. They want to do a flip. Okay, go buy a 2-family.
Yeah.
And parlay that into something. Turn that into something, and then reinvest. This kid came to me a few weeks ago and asked me, like, what to do. He had come into about $30,000 and asked me what I think he should do with the money. I said absolutely nothing. He wanted to go, like, buy something. I said, turn that money into 300 and then come talk to me.
Yeah.
So it's like slow. Just don't rush into something.
I agree. Patience. Aggressive patience, I always say.
Aggressive patience.
Aggressive patience.
Yes.
Aggressive patience. Don't sit back and just wait. Aggressively work without expecting results right away. But consistently and persistently get after it.
And ask questions.
Yeah, ask questions and listen.
Go to people that know. I mean, I tell people all the time, I have guys calling me for advice. What do you think of this property? And I'll run the numbers and I'll say it doesn't work well, and I try to educate them.
Me and you talk about that all the time.
Like, constantly, these people are like, hey, I got this thing, I'm blah 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 blah, and I say I wouldn't do it, and it's just asking people who have been through the highs and lows. I mean, we came through the 2008 market, where we had 110 units that are under varying levels of construction, and the market is flat, like they shut the switch off. And we actually we ended up making money on the project. We got out, just in the black, but it was.
If you can go through those times, and you can survive, then.
And then you can educate people on.
Oh, you learn so much.
But that 2008 put people out. I mean, a lot of people.
I know, but the people who survived came out stronger. I can guarantee you that.
100%.
So we could talk all day long. I mean, you have the Maggiore Companies. You guys are landlords. You guys develop. You have projects that are, going to come to the, that will be, coming up in the next, 2 years probably, completion. We won't get into those yet. You've had really successful development projects. You guys manage and, own a lot of property that you guys have built over the years. You are building multifamily for people. You are building commercial buildings, medical offices, office buildings, whatever it is. And that's been your family's legacy, right? That's where your family business started. You have a new little business that you're kind of, starting on your own, I believe. And I think my basement that we're sitting in now was kind of the start of it, the catalyst. I remember you and I were speaking, and you had an idea that, was more a passion project for you and something that you really enjoyed because you enjoyed working on this and bringing this to life. Tell us a little bit about what that company is.
So it's really a subset of Maggiore, but
What's the name of it?
Enclave.
Enclave, and what does that stand for?
So Enclave is like a personal, like a getaway, like almost like a secret place, or a special place that someone can go.
I like
and
that.
It really kind of falls
Enclave.
into whatever.
Powered by
interest.
Maggiore.
Powered by Maggiore. So it's still the same players. It's still all the same team members. Obviously, probably expanding and picking up some new talent as well. But delving into that luxury. Home spaces, ADUs, which are becoming extremely popular. Every zoning meeting you go to, there's somebody applying for an ADU, under the zoning regulations.
Gyms,
theaters, golf simulators, bars, spa spaces. Basically, something that caters to someone's unique identity. This is you, right?
Yes.
We're going to go to somebody else. They may want to have something that's completely golf themed or like a serene feeling, like a spa. So getting into someone's head and figuring out what like really speaks to them, and kind of the whole premonition of it is a lot of people say escape from reality, but this is going to be an escape to reality.
I like that. This is an escape to reality. This is reality. This is me.
This is, you can come down here anytime. This isn't like, I go enjoy this and then
and
go
this
home.
Isn't the only space. We've built my kids a playroom. We have a wine cellar, bedroom, full bathroom. You knocked this out of the park, man, and I'm beyond happy. We're still adding some finishing touches to it. I'm excited to see Enclave take off because, like I said, I've seen your basement. I've seen other projects you've done for other people, theaters, golf simulators. I saw you put together a really cool 3-story closet for someone. They're private, so I know you can't really share that with, but you showed me a little bit about it. I know that you've been able to really curate cool spaces under staircases, and you don't want any, you found every single inch in this basement, and you were able to help me utilize it. And
taking like an existing condition, like and turning it into something functional. Like you can see here, I don't know if the camera can see, but you have a lot of existing ductwork that runs through here that feeds the upper floors. So we said, how can we use that lower ductwork height to maximize the aesthetics? And so we relocated the ductwork to come down the center of this system, and then we built these coffers so that it looks intentional. We utilize the challenges and the conflicts in the site to our advantage, and then we did illumination, and you would absolutely never know, but those are the types of things you think about, thinking outside the box. How can we come in and make this, and to get into someone's head and like feel what they're passionate about. And I've liked doing it for myself. I like doing it for you, and it's something that I enjoy doing. Therefore, if you like what you're doing, you can really push on something and turn it into something. So it's a new.
So
thing
nothing is launched yet. Is it still?
No, it's in the early stages, but it's coming. We actually have a few leads. We're working on that. We'll
So people could just reach out to you.
Reach out to me directly. Yeah.
All right, they can send you a message on Instagram, email.
Absolutely.
Just go to Maggiore Companies website, contact you. You guys can also ask me for his info. I'm happy to share it.
More than happy to share it in any fashion. And
we're going to have to definitely bring you back on to an episode where we're going to talk about, other projects you've done. I know you're building a house. I know you're running a company, man. Just you do so much. You stop, drop, and roll. You made me feel I was a small project for you, but you made me feel like I was your only client. You're an amazing father. I know that. You're an amazing husband. We share the same values. We do everything for our families and for our legacy, and that's how we're going to end. To end every episode, I'd like to have the guest unlock their legacy. So looking back 30 to 40 years from now, how do you want everyone to remember Matt Maggiore? When people look at the skyline, the communities you built, and the family you raised, how do you want to be remembered, brother?
So I think that the remembering, the things that I've done versus built would be most important. Like how I've taken care of family, how I've taken care of friends and loved ones, and have always, lived up to my word. If I say I'm going to do something, it's going to get done. If I shake your hand and say, hey, I'm going to go jump off a bridge for you, I'm going to go do it. And so
Yes, you will.
That,
I can attest
having
to
that
that.
commitment that I follow through, and I was a man of my word. And going back to day one, learning the business, it was your reputation's all you have. You can have money, you can have cars, you can have this, you can have boats, you can have houses, whatever. But your reputation is first and foremost in your existence.
I love that.
And so if you leave this world, everyone says, hey, he was a good man. He did what he said he was going to do. He was a good father. That's most important. From what we do every day, business standpoint is, 20, 30 years from now, someone's driving by 175 North Ave or 351 Summer Street or whatever it might be, and they say, man, that building's 35 years old, but it still looks good. It stood the test of time. And so we'll build a building for someone, make suggestions. If it's ugly, it's not really my doing. I'll be happy to build it for you. But the projects that we put on the ground, we want people to
They're
drive
built
by
to last.
and to say the quality construction, good materials stand the test of time, but also aesthetically, it always feels like it belongs there.
Love
So
that.
being able to drive by, again, 30 years from now and say, geez, older building, well maintained, but they did it right.
Construction. I'm excited to see you take Maggiore Companies to the next level.
Thank you.
You're the next man up, and you've already built it and continue to grow. You continue to grow the company. You continue to make the necessary changes. I'm excited to see your
And
new.
you've been great to a sounding board for marketing. You guys are professional.
I'm always
marketing.
here. That's what we do, dude. We help each other.
True experts, and have given me some great guidance along the way, how to improve things, and have systems in place, and your marketing presence is phenomenal. You guys are top tier. I mean, no one's touching you guys. So
Appreciate
props to you
that.
guys. You guys do a great
It's
job.
all
and
about
it's
surrounding
well deserved.
yourself
And I know
with-
how hard you work.
Thank
and
you.
It's very well deserved.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks so much.